Hi, everybody. Welcome to another talk for the portfolio series. Uh, I'm Juliet, and I'm super excited to have you, all of you. If you are from LinkedIn, if you're coming here because 80 plays of YouTube, I'm super excited. We have a full house. A lot of you are coming, and I've been doing a lot of the talks that we've been doing. I feel like twice a week, pretty much at this point. So I'm super excited for today because this kind of finish up everything about branding, finishing about our storytelling of who we are, how we think about our strengths, our values, and we bring them together all in our branding. Uh, and okay, before I start saying who I have as a guest speaker, I'm super excited because we got to meet in one online course that we are doing at the moment with Brand Station, because he's Colombian and I'm a Colombian, and he's like, okay, I need to bring him in to talk about branding. So, hello, hola Jacobo, ¿cómo estás? Sorry, a little bit of Spanish for all of those who don't speak Spanish. How are you?
Very excited to be here tonight.
Yes, I know. And again, if you are in LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, or if you're joining us because 80 pillars, make sure that you type your questions on the comments. I will go through the questions at the end, but I know that Jacobo has some questions through the talk. So make sure that we are all putting in our comments, our thoughts, because this is how we all improve and get better. Okay. I have something before I keep forgetting. Here. So we have a lot of talks coming up in the next 2 weeks. We are marking week 4. So on Wednesday, we have Aditya. He's going to talking about a little more the intersection of UX and graphic design. So how that works. Then excited about Saturday because I'm bringing two of my two coworkers. They're going to be talking about how to collaborate when you are working in your portfolio. What kind of feedback do you need, and how collaboration and feedback can help you a lot to improve your portfolio. Then we have Christina on Tuesday, November 19. She's going to be talking a little more about the art of storytelling. Is your portfolio going on the right place? Are you talking about the right things? Again, we've been talking a lot about strength, values. Where are you in your career? What kind of company are you looking for? So we are going to put all of that together into the case study and portfolios. Then we have Hansu. She's going to talking about a little more of the case studies specifically. So again, how your strengths and showing up when you are displaying your work and your strengths. And then a little bit for product managers. I feel like I know that we've been talking a lot about UX design, but I'm hoping if you are a UX designer, a developer, a product manager, you are utilizing all this information because it's for everybody. But then we're going to have Claudia. She's going to talk about how case studies are done for product managers. So much going on. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure that you come to my LinkedIn. You will see all the events. If I can move my mouse because it's a stock. So you can sign up for them and don't miss any event. Again, we have 2 more weeks of the portfolio power up and tons of guest speaker. Jacobo, the floor is yours. Yes.
Excellent. Well, hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here tonight, as I mentioned before. Today, I'm going to be talking about the art of self-branding, turning your portfolio into your story. Okay, but before I dive into self-branding, I want to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Jacobo Roldan, and I'm a Colombian graphic designer based here in Toronto. I'm currently a graphic designer at Mars United Commerce, and throughout my career, I've been on the agency side of the business, which has led me to collaborate with some amazing clients like Henko, Longos, Careers Now, among many, many others. Today's objectives is to understand what self-branding is, understand the steps to create your self-brand, and learn how to integrate your self-brand into your portfolio. But to begin with, what is self-branding? Self-branding is all about highlighting your unique style, values, and how you wish to be perceived as a designer. It's about transforming yourself into a brand that authentically represents the work that you do and what you have to offer. I've gathered some of the things that I think are more important to make up a brand. So some of them are passion. There's nothing I believe that's more important than having passion in a brand, because if you don't have passion, you cannot communicate what you stand for. A brand without passion is like an empty vessel. There's nothing really to communicate there. A visual identity, that's everything about the logos, color palette, typography. Then you have voice and tone, which is the way that you want to communicate with potential clients, employers, and how you talk not only with in your portfolio but with your peers, and in your online presence. In addition, you have values and purpose. This really talks about the values that you have as a designer and how it shapes your work and the purpose that your work will have in the future. Then I also think it's very important to have a brand story. Yes, you have the brand story as an independent brand, but as a designer, is the story that guide you to be where you are right now. So whether you started as a child doing drawings, everything sort of shapes up to for you to be a designer. Later, you have your unique value, which is the thing that separates yourself from the rest of the designers out there. Then something very important, which I'll discuss later today, but having a target audience is key for having a brand. And especially during self-brand, you really need to know who you're talking to. Then we have consistency, which is, as the word says, being consistent across all platforms, whether it's your portfolio, your social channels, but also the way you interact with the people you meet and how you introduce yourself with them. And later, we have the brand experience, which really is how the people you've met interact with you, your portfolio, and your social channels. But why does self-branding really matters? Well, first, because you're creating a distinctive identity as a creative that helps you stand out from the crowd. Second, because it helps you showcase unique perspective as a designer, creating a bridge between you and your target audience. And because it also helps you to plan ahead. It helps you to set goals, values, and purpose for future projects. So now let's chat. I want to hear a couple of you. Please type in your comments. Why is self-branding hard for designers? Going to take a couple of minutes.
I was going to say this is such a hard one, and I feel like maybe thinking me as a UX designer is maybe not a concept that we think a lot. Yes, I feel like we are moving more into the functionality and how things work, but who I am and how do I show that in a brand is such a different
It's hard.
mindset.
It's hard. I'm gonna let some people type in something, but I have a couple of points that I would like to talk about next. So don't be shy. You have some
Yes,
comments.
don't be shy. Come on. I see people. I see people here. And I know, and I forgot always to say this. We are a little bit ahead of what people can can tell us. But oh, I have something here from Juan David Roldan Jaramillo. He sounds so Colombian. We don't know what to show. Yes. Juan
Yeah.
David, what is your role? I feel like that would be interesting to know. Are you like a UX designer too? And again, people is a little bit delayed, a little more delayed than that. Oh, okay. We have one from Jillian. I don't see anything coming in our side.
Cool.
Oh, it's coming. They're coming. Okay, here. It is very hard to try to narrow down a specific focus, brand, and voice.
Absolutely.
Ooh, look at this. This is what happened. What happened? We are ahead of everybody. Vivian, oh my God, I'm so guilty of that. I think we focus so much into the work and the details, but we might see self promoting as negative. Love that one. Yes.
Wow, so many comments.
Oh, we have one here. Oh, here, long one. From Rahul. It requires balancing self-expression with audience appeal. We often juggle client expectation and personal style, making it hard to define a unique, authentic brand that consistently resonates with others. I feel like you thought this through.
Wow.
Moreover, constantly evolving trends can create pressure to adjust a brand identity, risking coherence. Self-branding also really forces introspection, which means designers will deeply understand their values, strengths, and limitation. Wow, yeah, this is often easier said than done. And when do we have time for this? This is my other
I
question all the
know.
time. It's like, we work full time. I put this together. When do I have time for doing this?
I mean, it's something really important if you want to put yourself out there. So I think self branding is everything. Um, but you guys really nail it down. I sort of broke it down into three main points why I think self branding is hard for designers. The first one is trying to define your work and yourself is really hard. As designers, we're usually working with other brands, other clients, and we tend to adapt to their style, their brand guidelines, their tone of voice. So when we really think about ourselves, it's hard. It's hard to look in the mirror and see where you stand in, and it just takes a little bit of work that will be discussed later to really understand yourself and to really market yourself as a brand. Then, as designers, we are very picky, and I'm guilty, very guilty. I'm very pixel perfect. So when marketing yourself, uh, you really want to do your best for yourself. So you're really overthinking the idea and thinking, which just delays the whole process. Then, and the last point, which I think most designers um, might struggle, is that they skip the strategy and the creative thinking and they go directly into action mode. With this, I mean, creating a visual identity is great, but you can create a visual identity without having a clear strategy of what you're doing, or a clear path to where you're going. So how do you really do it? I've broken it into like four really main categories that you can follow in order to create your self brand. Firstly, discover your brand, your design personality. Second, identify your core values. Third, define your audience. And the fourth one is create your visual identity. So let's start with number one, discover your design personality. Creating any brand starts with understanding its unique edge. Think of it as the key component that self itself from the competition. Well, self-branding is really not that different. As a designer, you need to identify your strengths, your favorite types of projects, and the skills that make you stand out. From there, you can build a strategy that highlight these qualities and help you shape your personal brand. And I've created a little exercise that people can do in your free time. So I'll guide you through it. You'll start with collecting all your work, your personal projects, whether it's client work or personal work. You're going to start to spot the tendencies and design trends that you see. So you see you're bold, you like typography, you like whatever it is that you do, write it down. And then narrow it down to the three that you really like. Then from there, do the complete opposite and identify your no-goes. What are the things that you don't want your brand to stand out? So if you're not, I don't know, you're not very corporate, so you're a little bit quirky. So find your no-goes. And then imagine how this will affect your creative process and create an action plan to see how that will impact. Then for number two is identify your core values. Once you have a clear perspective of what you are as a designer, identify your values, whether it's storytelling, sustainability, and innovation, will help you find purpose in your work. But if you think of it, how they can shape your design work. Sorry, how can they shape my design approach? Well, the values also help connect with the brand audience. It will help create a bridge between you and your potential clients. I've created a small exercise as well that you can follow at home. So start with a list of values: bold, innovative, pushing, fashion pushing. You can do a list of how many values that come to mind. Then you narrow it down, and then you visualize how they can impact your work. Number three, and the one that I've mentioned, I feel like since I started talking, is defining your audience. Understanding your audience is crucial when building a self brand. Whether it's clients, employers, or collaborators, your brand really should speak to their values and their needs. Aligning your self brand with the people you want to reach is crucial to get the right opportunities and create meaningful connections. And lastly, and what I think designers like the most, is creating your visual identity. Now, with everything that we've gathered, really think and choose your colors, your fonts, and design elements that reflect your personality. Whether it's bold, vibrant, cool, or minimalistic, these visuals from your brand will be the toolkit and the backbone of your visual identity. Consistency across your portfolio, website, and social media makes your brand instantly recognizable. And I'm not going to tell you how to create a visual identity, but I have a little exercise for you. And sort of what I did to create my self brand is I did some research. I started, my visual identity, sorry. I started to do some research to see what other designers were doing for their own brand and what other brands are doing, not just uh, designers, but brands in general. And from there, I created my portfolio where it supported the tendencies. So, for example, in my case, I saw that a lot of things that I saved there were green. And as you can tell, I decided to go for green for my color palette. The third point is getting action. Start designing, start sketching, and do your creative path to create your visual identity. And lastly, test your visuals. I cannot insist how important it is to test your visuals. Share it with your friends, your peers, your family to make sure you're really getting across your point. Because you can see it one way, but people can receive it as another. But now let's chat again. Why does your portfolio need to be branded? I want to hear from you.
Okay, before we move into this, I'm going to seal all these points for the topics or the task for our Portfolio Power Up week because we are moving into the fourth step that you just mentioned. So I love that you are giving us a lot of things that we can take home and action right away. But I think while people catch up with us and they tell us what does your portfolio needs to be branded, I'm going to share some of the thoughts that we didn't have a chance to share. So we have Alonso. I'm not a graphic designer, but I think it's challenging because it requires a lot of passion and practice. Another one from Vivian. 100% aiming for perfection is our worst vice. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Then we had Desiree. We also tend to self critique our work as designers.
Yeah, I would like
Um,
to add to that not only
yeah,
you self-critique, but you compare yourself with other designers. So
yes.
it's sort of like the imposter syndrome talking in the background.
Oh, sometimes I feel like that makes into when we go and look for inspiration and then we start moving into this different swimming line. I feel
Hmm.
like it's hard to, it's like, oh my goodness, that person is so good at this. I can never do that. I don't have that experience and that inspiration start not being inspiration anymore, but self-critique. So I feel like it's really important to stay focusing what we do when we're going for inspiration. Oh, and Vivek is saying hi, love to see you again here. He's been with us every uh talk. And then okay, what is, let's see, I don't see anything. But what does your portfolio need to be branded?
Okay, since no one since no one commented, I'm gonna chat what it's important. Well, branding your portfolio is essential because it's a key channel of communication with potential clients or employers. I will branded portfolio not only highlights your skills but also reflects your personality, values, and design approach. It tells you your story visually, making your work memorable and recognizable. By aligning your portfolio with your personal brand, you create a cohesive experience that builds trust, attracts the right opportunities, and helps you stand out in a competitive industry. So let's take this as an example. We have two portfolios. One on the, I'm gonna say the one on the left, the one with the blonde, and the one that says "Hi Summer." The one on the left, you can really tell much about this person. It's pretty bland. You don't see any sort of uh, key component. You don't see anything that stands out. It's just very plain, and it doesn't tell you much more about the designer. However, if you look on the right, you'll see a portfolio that exudes personality. It shows the person, it shows what the person stands for, it shows the type of work that she's inclined to do. And it just gives you a better grasp of what this person is as a designer. Now, if you look at both of them and you're looking to hire one of them, personally, I'll go more with that one that says "Hi, I'm Summer." Why? Because it's well thought of. It's more, not, I wouldn't say put together, but you can really see all the intention that went behind it. But now, how do you apply your brand to your portfolio? And again, I've broken down into 4 steps. The first one, apply the key components of your branding. Second one, align your projects with your brand. Third, create a great system for your portfolio. And fourth, consistency across platforms. So number 1, it's easy. Start by incorporating your brand's core elements: the colors, the fonts, the style, and just everything to create a cohesive experience. Your portfolio should reflect your unique personality, design approach, tone, and point of view as a designer. This helps communicate who you are and what you stand for. And I think also something that's very important is aligning your projects with your brand. Create a gallery of your best work, reflecting the projects that you want to attract. Make sure your piece aligns with your brand core values, aesthetic, and the skills you want to highlight. Whether it's a personal project or a client piece, it should showcase the type of designers you are and the impact you want to make. So for example, if I want to brand myself as a branding designer, my portfolio should exude that. It should have projects that showcase branding projects, not something the complete opposite. Third, create a grid system for your portfolio. A well-structured grid system ensures a portfolio is easy to navigate and visually appealing. Choose a layout that balances your projects and allows each one to stand out. Consistent spacement, alignment, and structure not only help your design shine, but also create a more professional and organized presentation. Your grid system is the backbone that holds your portfolio together. And lastly, create consistency across platforms. Your portfolio, if you have a website portfolio, that's great. But your website portfolio, if it looks different from what you have on LinkedIn, what you have on Instagram, even how you present yourself, it wouldn't matter because you're not being truthful to your self brand. And with that being said, I would love to hear some questions from you guys.
Love it. Thank you so much. I like the most that we have so many steps that we can follow, and there is like easier to digest. Sometimes when we think about branding or something that we are not really used to do, and we go outside into the world and say, how do I do branding? And it's so much to grab from that is hard to start. So I love that there is a lot of, you're holding my hand to do this properly. Thank you. Okay, so questions. While I start with my questions, all of you that they aren't linking in YouTube, make sure that you type your questions on the comments. But I feel like this sounds really easy for someone like you, that you're a graphic designer and you've been doing this for a while. And if you start thinking again, at me as a UX designer, I do some design, but then we start talking about like product managers, maybe researchers, maybe developers, how they can implement this even easier.
Well,
What is the
really,
recommendation?
well, I think it's important to have something clear. You have self branding, and it's really portraying yourself as a brand. And then you have your visual identity. That's everything. That's logo, colors, and fonts. I think really everyone can have a self brand, because really it's a way for you to advocate for the type of work that you do and really showcase your work to the world. So, for example, for yourself, as a UX designer, you can really have a very unique point of view. I think from what I've heard of you, you have your organization cherry on top.
Cherry on
Uh,
tech? Yes.
yeah, cherry on top. So I think it's a you can really talk about that in your self branding and how you're an entrepreneur. Like really everyone can have a self branding if yeah.
Yes. I feel like sometimes we put so much pressure that it has to be, that you have to have all of this. Yes, like when you think about it, when you go on Google, like a brand identity, and then you see all these elements that you need to have. I feel like at the beginning, we can start easy, and we can have simple things as like maybe colors, maybe even some words that really represent me and how they're going to be represented in everything that I do. We can have a little logo, nothing super fancy, but something that goes reflected through what we did in the research. Um, okay, yes. So I feel like maybe that looks overwhelming, but then I love the point of consistency, how that reflects in all the different spaces that we're going to be present. And again, I feel like it feels a little more heavier for us as a designers to have that reflection of being intentional when we do our work. Yes, like you were saying, your presentation deck, I imagine that really match your portfolio on everything else that you do around as a designer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, and I feel like then you don't need to start thinking, okay, which color should I use or how should I do this, because you have already something that you can grab from it, and you don't have to rethinking and redoing all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have a question here from Vivek. What are some key elements to include in a portfolio to ensure it reflects my unique personality and style?
This is a great question. So besides your logo, your brand colors, and your typography, I feel like it's really important for you to nail down your tone and your voice. Um, if you have a very quirky portfolio with, I don't know, like smiley faces and cute animations, but you have a very corporate tone of voice, there might be a disconnect there. Um, Not only that, I also feel like having your voice there really sets you as a creative thinker. Really shows that you not only think about visuals, but you think about the whole picture of what your brand is. Um, and another element, as I mentioned before, is really planning what you want to showcase there, the projects that you want to have. If you're a UX designer, you want to showcase, for example, if you want to focus on app design, well, show the work that you want to pursue. You don't want to
Mhm.
showcase a full website that you did. Yes, it's good to have as an extra, but you really want to focus on what you're looking for.
And I feel like now that with the 4 weeks, oh, I feel like I shared the same one. Sorry, my bad. Personally style. For the last 4 weeks, that a lot of stuff that we've been talking for the portfolio power up have been around again. Who are you as a person? What are really your strengths? Where do you want it to work? Where are you in your career? Or what
Mhm.
kind of projects are going to be highlighted in the space, so those companies or organizations are saying, yes, this person has what we're looking for. And an
Mhm.
example that I always talk a lot about is you're looking at a job post, yes, and the job post has a lot of like requirements, and it has like things that we would like this person to have, A, B, and C. and then you go into your resume and you're like, okay, yes, let me match my resume with the job description. But then your portfolio, it doesn't reflect anything from that job. So that's why maybe you are not getting called, because it's like, okay, this person said that they do A, B, but like you were saying, like you go into your portfolio and they do Z and T, like they do such a different skill set, that's why you are not matching. And I feel like this is really a hard one when you are a new designer and you
Mhm.
want to be appealing to so many spaces. It's like, I will just grab whatever whatever, whoever wants to hire me, I want to be there. But I feel
Mhm.
like we keep forgetting the importance of what we want and why we went into this role, into this career, is because we deserve to have what we like too. So that's really important for everybody to remember. You deserve what you want, but you need to like really go into perspective into what you want and how you would like that to be reflected everywhere.
Yeah, it's also the growth
Uh,
that you have as a designer. I feel like as a
yes.
junior, you really don't know where you stand, what you want to do. So while you gather experience and you really get to know what you want to do and where you're going to go, that's where you really start like self-reflecting about your self-branding.
And before I forget, we had Saeed on Saturday, and I post these on my UX and Tame podcast YouTube channel. And he talks about a lot about like your level of maturity as a designer and how that should be reflected in your portfolio. A great talk, because he just show us the what are the things that you should have, and show us examples exactly that chart how should look like if you are entry level, mid level. So I will recommend it for everybody to check that out. But from Rahul, I agree, great point, Jacobo. Having a brand as a designer for yourself is a so vital, regardless of the type of design discipline that you practice. Like Jacobo said, it's a vital to distinguish yourself and show your skills. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, here from Vivian. Even nowadays, there are tools like Canva that help people that are no designers. I love this. Yeah, there is so many good tools out there that will help you to create your logo, pretty
Yeah,
much.
listen, I'm a Canva fan. I know there's a bit of controversy out there, but Canva really helps people who not only don't want to pay for the Adobe suite because it's quite expensive,
Yes.
but it also helps as a way of doing research because there's amazing designs already in the platform.
Yes. Okay, any more questions? Come on, I still see people here. Any more questions? What else do we need to ask Jacobo? I feel like I was so paying so much attention that I forgot to write write down questions. Um, I feel like why don't we go maybe back into your presentation and we go into
For sure.
one of the steps that I feel like I love. Maybe it was the first one, mostly because I'm going to be stealing that one. I feel like, I, yes, I think this one, yes. Um, and I feel like I wanted. We were talking, or they were mentioning a little bit about the identify your no goes. Which ones will be your no goes?
For sure. I don't take myself very serious.
Yes.
So I hate when my designs have to be like, yeah, like very serious and
Mhm.
lack that little bit of edge that I like to add into my designs. I also like, for example, something that I like and the clients that I want to go for are clients that are pushing the edges of design.
Yeah.
So maybe like if you see my portfolio, you will see the pieces that are a bit more funky, more out there, rather than being a bit more conservative.
I love that. And I feel like I want to bring Vivek a little bit here, because I know that we have talked about this topic in our last talks. It is about professionalism. I thought, Vivek, that you were going to ask that as your comment came in, because this is a great point. Again, you are looking, I think, again, for you, Jacobo, you're looking for spaces that are fun, they're easygoing, they're not so like a square that you cannot breathe and you have to follow so many steps to create something. Yeah, like there is so much restriction and being rigid when working in a space. I feel like for you it's a little more freedom, like you want to be yourself, you want to put yourself, and you want to be leading into what is coming for design or not. So I feel like that's really important to, and both sizes are okay. I think this is for people to understand that even if you want to be super serious and work in projects that are a little bit rigid and have a lot of restrictions and you cannot be out of the box, that's totally okay. I feel like it's for you to identify where you want to be and how that can be reflected in your portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the self-branding sort of process, really identifying what you stand for and what you are.
Yes. Okay, Jillian, as a junior designer, it is not very easy to pick and choose projects that I work on. Do you have any tips to align the projects to the brand?
I feel you, Jillian. I feel like when I was freshly graduated from college, it was hard to really know what projects to put out there. I would say, like, think where you want to go. What are the types of jobs that you want to do? Do you want to do branding? Do you want to do editorial? Do you want to do more of, I don't know, print stuff? Really think that and highlight those projects first. Yes, for junior designers, it's good to have a bit more versatility in their portfolio because it's a way to open the appeal to the companies. Uh, but really put on top the work that you want to do. So, for example, my portfolio is mainly about branding, and when I started applying at jobs, I highlighted those projects first, and then left the other ones at the bottom of the page just because they weren't as important as the top ones.
Are we all interested to see Jacobo's portfolio? You just keep talking about this.
I'll show it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while you look for it, I know that we have another question here from Vivek. So, how can I differentiate my self brand in a crowded creative industry? Hmm.
To that,
This is an
I would
interesting
say
one.
there's not really a formula that I can tell you, like, this is the way that you're gonna differentiate yourself, because it really depends on how you self brand yourself. How do you get yourself, and how do you communicate your skills to the world? Uh, Sorry, I'm just opening my portfolio.
Yeah. Oh, good. I can
uh,
see it here. I can see it on the side. So, okay, here. And I was going to mention last week. I'm like all my dates are like now mixed up, but we have Raluca, and I think Raluca. She was mentioning that it took her a year to work in her latest portfolio, and this was a lot of self learning, writing down a lot of her ideas. So I feel like sometimes something that you mentioned too, Jacobo, is like go and test it. What is people saying? Is this really reflecting who I am, what I want? Because when we are working in our little bubble of like all the thoughts and everything that we've been working on, it's really hard to come out and look from the outside as those outside people. So it's important you go to your family, friends, people that you have work on, and it's like, what do you think about this? Does it reflect who I am, my strengths, where I want it to be or not? So I love that.
yeah, and I would say, like, even for the presentation that I just showed you, I think I sent it to like 7 people for them to review and make sure I
Thank
covered
you.
all the bases that I wanted to do and to get my point across. So if I do that with a presentation, don't be afraid to do so with something more important than your self brand.
Yes. Okay. I think let me ask. Oh, okay. We have a couple of questions. Okay. Let me see. Oh, a fun question. Okay. Okay, Rahul, a fun question. A bit more of a fun question. What are your thoughts about adding sound or feeling to your brand? What it'll be and how will you do
Oh, I don't know about a sound. Like,
it?
that's a hard one. I feel like some brands have done some incredible work, but a feeling I would like to have is And it's something that I'm still working on, because I feel like self-brand is always something that you keep on improving, is sort of have a feeling of edge, of modernity, of pushing the boundaries. I feel like that's the feeling that I want to communicate with
Yes.
my self-brand.
Love it. Do you want us like scroll to your portfolio and show us a little bit?
Yeah, so this is my portfolio. I did it like over a year ago. I haven't had the time to update it with the latest stuff. This
That's
is
why
sort
you
of,
were covering your
yeah, I
your
was like, oh
face.
my God. But this is sort of the homepage. It talks a little bit about myself. Uh, it talks about my capabilities as a designer. And as you can see, the first two things that I put on here are the things that I really want to focus on. So editorial design and branding, which are my babies. And then if you scroll up and you go to my actual work, it's broken down, as I told you, my best projects first, and it continues as it goes. So this is just an example of how I'll do a project layout. Sorry, it's just kind of finicky.
Oh, that's so pretty.
So this is a branding that I did for some pet wipes, and just give it like a little blurb showing my thought of it. And if you read it, it's a bit quirky how I wrote it down. It's a bit fun. It's not too serious, because I don't take myself too serious. And yeah,
so pretty.
obviously there's still a lot of work that I wanted to put into the portfolio, but as I said, it's an ongoing work.
Love it. And again, and I feel like it's I mean, again, you are a graphic designer and you are focusing into getting those clients for branded design. So that's what you feel when you go into your portfolio. So I feel like it's for each of us to define where do we want to work, and it will be a little bit different for us as UX designers too. And again, if you are a PM or a developer, it will be such a different space. We have a couple of more questions that I feel like I skip. Oh, maybe this is a comment. A junior designer can also create self-assignments to get the work they want to go for. Yes, I love that. And I feel like this is a comment that I mentioned to a lot of my mentees is, what else are you doing? And for me, when I was getting out of the my oh my goodness boot camp, and I was trying to get a job, getting a job without experience is really hard. And it's like, it's a chicken and egg kind of situation. So it's like, can you look for spaces where you can create that experience? And I feel like this is interesting too, to say, let's say now that I'm working on the health space, is, can I look for companies? Can I redo a website? Can I pair up with some folks to work in a project that I can develop the skills? So I feel like a lot of these is, what are you willing to do, and what else can you do outside of just going to school, or yes, I feel like it's a lot of into your power to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, another one from Vivek. What roles does social media play in supporting the self-brand of branding through my portfolio? I love this one. Okay.
It plays a big role. I mean, you can post in social media almost all of the work that you do, but again, I will do it in a more curated way. Show some interesting work, not everything that you do, because you really want to maintain that self brand and self image that you're creating. And again, what I do is, I usually, when I post something on my socials, is take people back to my portfolio so they can see my full range of work. So if you have social media, it's a great way to support your portfolio and your self brand, but keep it consistent.
Yeah. And again, I feel like that part of consistency is really important. And I will mention, for me, I mean, I do a lot of events. This is, yes, I do love to do all of this, but this is part of my values and my strengths. Yes, I wanted to show companies that, hey, I can facilitate, hey, I can bring guests, I can put together, let's say, programs where I help people to develop their portfolio and make it better. This
Mhm.
is me intentionally creating, and this is where we talk about something about the portfolio and what else are you doing. This is what else for me, and has been really powerful to build my confidence about when I'm talking with the stakeholders, when I'm presenting my work, because I do this constantly. So it's part of my strengths and what I want people to see, and it's part again of my branding everywhere that you see. So there's so many different ways that you can promote yourself. So I love that. Where do you create this? Is this Framer?
Squarespace. Uh,
Squarespace. Okay.
I'm not
Okay,
a
good.
UX designer. I'm not a product designer, so I did my best in Squarespace. I think there's another website that I'll recommend for those of you who might not have a coding background, and it's Design Mag. They have it's a great service where you can do like animations and create a very professional looking portfolio while not being a coder.
Yes, love it. And I feel like the last comment that we have here is from Desiree. Yes, I think it's important to open to feedback as and its views as something that will help us to improve as a designer, strength, our skill sets. And I feel like, again, if we think as about UX designer, something that we do a lot is like, okay, we have this problem. Let's create a solution. Let's go on if it's a solution or not. We cannot keep it just for us to see if it works or not. That's why we have the users, because we want to make sure that it works. This is the same for your portfolio, and forever, whatever that we create, is this working? Is this appealing? How
Mhm.
can I make it better? How can I improve? And at the end of the day, we can always do better and improve, but don't wait until you get to excellence.
Mhm.
That I will consider more like a waterfall kind of a space. Is like, let me do the perfect portfolio with the perfect case studies that people don't know that exist to see if it works. And it took you like a year, 6 months to create, and no one knows about it. Don't work. So work a little bit. And this is something that now that I'm working in my portfolio and that a lot of people recommend me is like, do something and go and see if it works. Come
Yeah.
back and improve it with the feedback that you're getting.
I would say for when creating your self branding, and if you're having issues really understanding how you see yourself, um, go to your peers, your friends, and ask them, how do you see me? What are the skills that you see that I'm standing out for? That's something that helped me, and I appreciate my family for helping me. So if you have the chance, if you have your close ones and you're struggling, ask them, because it really helps hearing somebody else what they think about you.
And again, I mean, I'm in 80 plays, but I thousand of people there and 80 plays from, it's not just now UX design, but it's pretty much any breadth of like mentors that can help you. So I feel like if you want to do branding and you don't know if this works, go and book a one-on-one with a graphic designer mentor that will for sure give you some feedback. Sometimes we want those to like fresh eyes that have never known you or they don't know who you are, and they can see if it's working or not. I feel like that works too. Other
Yeah,
thing is like,
feel free to reach out to me if you have questions
yes.
about your design. For everyone on here, if you have questions, please reach out via LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to help you there.
And to finish it up, I don't see anything else coming up. Something from Vivian for junior designers. Don't give up your work for free. Yes, please don't do it. You can find other creative people that want to create projects and partner up with them, but don't fall in the work for exposure fantasy. Yes, I feel like, and this will happen in so many spaces when there's certain new projects and you just wanna just work in whatever because you need the exposure and because you need the experience. I feel like we can be a little more assertive and a little more intentional of what kind of projects we're choosing for them. And this comes with the idea of like knowing yourself and really writing down all your values, your strengths, where you want it to go. This is going to help you to find those spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This is it. I don't see any more questions. Jacobo, thank you so much. I love it. Really enjoy the presentation. You really grabbed us by the hand and took us on how to do this. And this is a great way to close up self-branding and our storytelling for our portfolio power up. And now we're moving a little more coming up into case studies and how to use all those strengths into the case studies. So again, go to Juliet Fajardo on LinkedIn and you will see all the events that are coming up. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you,
Have a good
Jacobo.
night.
Bye.
Bye.